Good morning, everyone, or should I say good day, everyone. I hope you all are doing well and you're keeping safe and healthy during this time that we are all asked to quarantine and take on the responsibility of our health. And so I hope you all are doing well. So my prayers are out with your families and all of you students as we all want to make sure that you are healthy and that you're okay. So I would like to welcome you to environmental science. This is taught at both the high school and the middle school level, and there are different expectations for the high school students as well as for the middle school students. So let's get started. So Chapter 1 is all about planet Earth, and as we're taking a look here at the sphere of the Earth, I wonder what continents can you identify? Does anyone recognize this continent? And does anyone recognize this continent? Perhaps here you might recognize certain states, like Florida. And so Florida is in North America, right? So, and in our readings, so we've come across several, vocabulary terms. So this question, what parts that make up Earth do you recognize? Now, the three layers of Earth that you can see here. Do you recognize what is this outer layer that is made up of air? What might that vocabulary word be? And the section of the Earth that is made up of land. What is that called? What part of the Earth is this? And then the rest of the Earth is covered in this water. And so what part of Earth is that? So let's keep thinking about these and as we move forward, as these are part of your vocabulary words. Now, you all have received packets. I sent home packets. And you should have seen journal guides. Now, this should not be the first time that you're seeing journal guides because we do these in the classroom as well. The journal guides essentially tell you what work you need to do. So if you're wondering, what in the world do I do? Okay, your journal guides tell you exactly what you need to do. So for the high school environmental science students, this is your journal guide here. See, it says high school journal guide. Okay, chapter. Okay, so we're in chapter 1 and we're in section 1. So everything that you are to complete in section 1 is here. This is your homework that you need to be doing. And so same with middle school students. This is what your homework is and what you need to be doing for every section that we come across in this chapter. So let's go ahead and begin. So what is our outline? What is the outline here that is in your journal guide? So your outline, and I reviewed this and showed you on the first week of school what your outline is. And so the outline of the section of the chapter eventually tells you and gives you a guide for how the chapter is written, and it tells you what's important. And so when something is important, that's something that you should take note of and keep in mind because that's going to be guiding your learning. So for the outline in for section 1. So going back here for the outline for section 1. Okay, so we're in chapter 1. So the outline is 1.1 for chapter 1, section 1. And the Roman numeral number here, what goes in there is the title of the section. So the title of the section, if you take a look at your packet, and I will show you here in the book. Okay, in the book, you see the title, Planet of Life. Yeah, maybe that's not the best way to do it, and I need to switch to the document camera. But anyhow, all right, so the outline consists of the title. Okay, so Roman numeral number 1, Planet of Life. Then you'll notice in the reading in this particular section, there are really there's no subheadings. So what we're going to do is list the objectives, because right underneath the title are the objectives, and the objectives will drive your learning. So then all throughout the reading, you have vocabulary. So then going into the alphabet organization here, A, we put down objectives. B would be vocabulary. And C, the last thing that we see in this section is the section review questions. So this outline is only for high school students to complete. Now, if middle school students would like to, that is fine. And however, the expectation, and going back to the journal guide, is that the high school students are to be completing the outline. All right, so the second thing is the objectives. So let's go down to the objectives, okay? 1.1 objectives. And when you are completing this in your journal, it is very, very good to be writing down the number of the chapter and the section. So 1.1 objectives. And those two objectives are, 1, locate the Earth in the diagram of the solar system. And 2, identify and describe the regions of Earth in which living things are found. So now you're wondering, okay, so it lists the objectives. What do I do? Well, let's go back to that journal guide. And your journal guide tells you what work you need to do. So you are to write down these objectives. So you get your journal and you write exactly what this is, and it comes straight off of your packet that was sent home. So, and let's just explore this, the objectives. Locate the Earth in the diagram of the solar system. So we have the diagram of the solar system here, and let's count the planets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And so which one of these planets is Earth? Ta-da! Hopefully everybody will say number 3, which is Earth. And so in the second objective, identify and describe the regions of Earth in which living things are found. You know, we can quickly go back to this picture. And where do we find living things? Are living things located only on land, in water, suspended in the air? Okay, so where are living things? Living things are everywhere on the Earth. Okay, so that is covering the objectives. So now we're going to move into vocabulary definitions. So the journal guides tell you, all right, you're to write your vocabulary down and to write the definitions. So let's go ahead and come down here to this slide. So vocabulary, 1.1 vocabulary. So all of the vocabulary in your reading in this section are bold-faced words, right? So we talked about that the vocabulary are your bold-faced words. So, and their definitions are generally the italicized portions of the description that is happening around the vocabulary. So organisms are living things. So everybody's stopping me now and saying, Mrs. Roseberry, what do I do about the vocabulary? Well, according to your journal guide, you should have a section, a page, dedicated to the 1.1 vocabulary, and you should be writing these vocabulary words down and also writing their definitions next to them. So organisms are living things. The lithosphere. This is the layer of earth made up of land. Remember that big ball of the earth that we saw? All the land that you see. That is the lithosphere, the layer of the earth made up of land. Hydrosphere. This is the part of earth that consists of water. Any part of the earth that has water is hydrosphere. You'll recall in the first week that we talked about lithosphere, hydrosphere, and then also atmosphere, the layer of earth that contains air. And I had a little beaker out, a little beaker of water, of dirt, and one with just air in it. And I asked you to identify, the parts of earth that would contain, land, that would contain water, and that had air. And so we discussed what lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere were. So, and the last vocabulary word in this section is ecology. Ecology is essentially the study of earth. And so this is what you are to be writing down exactly as I have here in your journal. And I will say we had a handful of kids that were already doing this and doing well at using the journal guide as your work. So I expect you to continue with that work. All right, so now what do? So we did the outline, we did the objectives, we did the vocabulary definitions. So now here with the following the journal guide, what do I do next? Let's go ahead and do the section review questions. And so I did mention that when you do the section review questions, I want you to write down the question and then answer it. And all right, so let's mosey on down to section review. Section review 1.1. So again, this is straight off of your packet. And it says in bold and, a big heading, section review. So this is section review, chapter 1, section 1. The first question, what parts of the earth make up the hydrosphere? Okay, so you recall that we talked about all of the elements of that can be found or can be categorized under hydrosphere. Okay, so, and many of you had mentioned ocean, lakes, rivers, underground water, clouds. Okay, so our answers are right down here. So if you're wondering, is Mrs. Roseberry moving too fast? You can pause this and make sure that you have gotten the answers. Okay, down. So number 2, what characteristics of Earth enable it to support life? Voila, that was in our reading, right? And it pretty much stated in the reading what are the parts of Earth that enable it to support life. And in the reading, you should have found that the liquid water and the atmosphere all around the Earth enables life on Earth. So we need water and we need air to breathe, right? So, okay. And lastly, number 3, think about this. The temperature of a planet is determined in part by its distance from the sun. Which planets would you expect to be warmer